Hello, I'm Raina West, Division Chief of Substance Use Services for Ventura County Behavioral Health. Today, May 9th, is National Fentanyl Awareness Day. I'm sure you've heard about fentanyl. It's been making national and local headlines because it's killing people, many of them students, in schools across California and the country. People are purchasing a drug thinking it is one thing, and more often than not, it contains fentanyl. If you're getting a drug from anyone other than a medical provider, it probably contains fentanyl, and it will likely kill you. I hope today's presentation gets your attention and gives you some new information. If you haven't heard of fentanyl, it's a synthetic opioid that is up to 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine. It's the #1 contributor to overdoses in the United States. There are two types of fentanyl: pharmaceutical fentanyl and illegally manufactured fentanyl. Pharmaceutical fentanyl is prescribed by doctors to treat severe pain. Most cases of fentanyl-related overdoses are linked to illegally manufactured fentanyl, which is distributed through criminal drug markets for its heroin-like effect. It's often added to other drugs because of its potency, which makes it cheaper, more powerful, more addictive, and more dangerous. Ventura County has seen a huge increase in fentanyl overdose deaths, from 87 deaths in 2020 to 180 deaths in 2022. Today, on Fentanyl Overdose Awareness Day, my hope is that you will learn something you didn't know about the dangers of fentanyl and that you'll spread the word to friends and family. Your school is a place for learning, and we are grateful for the opportunity to provide you with the tools you need to keep yourself safe. There will be a quick survey at the end of the presentation. I hope you will feel inspired to take it. It will help us keep Ventura County better informed and healthy. Thank you for your time.
I'm Dr. Cesar Morales, Ventura County Superintendent of Schools. The presentation you're about to see is important because accidental overdoses from fentanyl are taking the lives of young people in Southern California. I want school leadership and staff, and especially students and their families, to understand that we are facing a very dangerous threat. But there are ways to prevent tragedy. Opioids are powerful painkillers that are now being made illegally as pressed pills that look like real prescription medication. These fake pills are a real danger. You're about to see what happens during an overdose and how emergency responders attempting to reverse an overdose use Narcan or naloxone, a medicine that rapidly reverses the effects of an opioid. You'll hear from people who have been brought back from an overdose of fentanyl and what that experience was like. You'll hear from family members, parents who've lost a child to a fentanyl overdose. These stories are heartbreaking, but they may help you or someone you know understand the real stakes of drug use. None of the students shown in the stories you'll hear were trying to kill themselves. They were killed by ingesting a drug that contained fentanyl. There's no test, but because you're in the school, sitting in your classroom, I'd like you to remember these things from today's presentation. I hope you learn the difference between real medications and street drugs, and what an overdose looks like, and how to keep someone from dying. And that you can understand the role that social media is playing in getting deadly drugs online. Mostly, I hope that this is the starting point of a conversation you'll continue to have with your friends, your family, and anyone else you trust who cares about you and your well-being. As the superintendent of schools for Ventura County, I am asking that all secondary school campuses take action in May to raise awareness of the facts about fentanyl and prevent tragedies like the ones you will see now.
Sheriff's office.
Yes, come in.
What's going on?
Yes, sir. Please. Oh, hello. The police are here. Oh my god. Oh my god.
So what happened?
Oh my god. Oh my god, please help. Oh my god.
What did they take?
Oh my god, I have no idea. No idea. Oh my god.
He saw the pulse slip.
Oh my. Oh. The police are here. Yes, I'm just. Yes. Yes. Oh.
Station 1, 3 on
just
21.
a
I
few-
have
just
3
a
subjects
few
down
minutes.
in the residence.
Do I need sideways, sir?
Out front. What did she take?
Oh my god, it's all the same
Out
thing.
front.
I have. Oh
What did they take, sir?
my. I have no idea what it is. Sir. No idea.
Check her. He has a pulse. I just put him in recovery. Check her.
Will you get Narcan?
Yeah, let's get Narcan.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. There's.
You know what they took?
I have no idea what
Okay.
it is. Some kind of. I don't know.
Where'd you find? Did you find him like this, laying down?
No, we were in the kitchen. I didn't. Luckily, I didn't.
Uh huh.
Oh my. Oh my god.
Ma'am. Ma'am. Can you help me out with her? Can you help me move her? Let's just move her to the ground.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my god.
Here, let's
my
just lay her down.
God. Oh my. What?
Ma'am.
WB, they're all breathing? Yes. Mama. Mama.
Do you know what they took? So where'd you find him at? Like right here?
Yeah, they all started in here, and then I just noted they just all just started.
Here,
They all just started acting weird. Oh my. Right here, she was the first one that went out. Yes. No, I do not. First dose at 20-17 hours. They did.
My name is John Iduco. I'm a sergeant with the Ventura County Sheriff's Narcotics Bureau. Currently, I'm a team leader assigned to our newly created team to fight the fentanyl and opioid epidemic, VC Focus, which stands for Ventura County Fentanyl Overdose Crimes Units. What you just watched was deputies responding to an opioid overdose. When the deputy enters the house, they made the call that they needed Narcan on scene.
Will you get Narcan?
Yeah, let's get Narcan.
Although he still wasn't sure what type of chemical was involved. However, all our deputies within the county are issued Narcan kits that they keep in their vehicles for situations just like this. Narcan is an opioid response blocker. What it does is it essentially prohibits the opiate from causing its effects to the human body. In this case, and with this kits, they're administered nasally and ingested into the body.
No, I do not. First dose at 20-17 hours.
This is the Narcan kit that's carried by every patrol deputy with Ventura County Sheriff's Office. Inside, you'll find the following: instructions, a CPR shield, hand wipes, and then you'll also find a box containing 2 4-milligram doses of Narcan. Each one of these is packaged separately, and when a deputy determines that somebody is suffering from a opioid-related overdose, these will be inserted in the nose and the spray will be administered. What we're finding is that Narcan is extremely effective against opioid type drugs such as fentanyl and heroin. However, the problem is further on down the line, we're starting to look at other drugs such as xylazine or isotonitazine, which are both more powerful than fentanyl, but they're not opiates, so they don't respond to naloxone or Narcan. So that's definitely one of the dangerous things that law enforcement is starting to confront. One of the most important things for people to understand is that California currently has a Good Samaritan law. It's covered under California Health and Safety Code 11376.5. And what that allows for is people who are at the scene of a medical emergency, like an overdose, have protections against legal processes, things such as being under the influence or possession of simple amounts of narcotics. The reason for this law was so that people would actually contact law enforcement and contact EMS. We won't want to prohibit people from feeling that because if they call 911, they're going to get in trouble. So the important thing here is that we're trying to save a life. And so the understanding is that people should know that the important thing is to call 911, get medical professionals on scene, and the fact is they're protected and covered by this law in California. Luckily for these people with this overdose that occurred, they were able to get the medical treatment by deputies, by EMS, and by fire that arrived on scene. In the case of this overdose, you can obviously see that there's a family member, and they're extremely distraught and extremely upset by the fact that this overdose is occurring.
Oh my God, please help.
One of the issues that we're finding with the fentanyl epidemic is that it destroys lives and families. This doesn't go back to the fact that there's an experimentation period or something that, we like to say one pill can kill, because it's truly the case in this. And not only does it affect the actual people, the victims of this that are using it and are caught in a cycle of drug addiction, but it also affects the family. It tears people apart. Accidental overdoses can happen to anybody. In fact, one of the key things to take away from this is that it's only 2 milligrams of fentanyl is considered the lethal dose. So you're talking about an extremely small amount of drugs that can actually end up killing somebody. But it doesn't just affect the victim, it affects the families. These are parents, these are brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers. We see it in every age group, people dying from this. So the important thing is to recognize this and understand that this is something that you can do something about and you can make a change. And again, the most important thing is that we want people to be safe. Just understand that that's what law enforcement, fire, and paramedics are there for. And we want to make sure that people understand that when this happens, they can contact us and that we'll be there to help. There's resources available.
Hi, my name is Greg Hasty. I'm a researcher and social media consultant, and I've been working in social media for over 10 years now. I'm here today to talk to you about some of the dangers of social media, specifically how people use social media to approach you, maybe to sell you drugs, and talk to you about privacy and safety on social media. As you may know, social media leaves a lot of open opportunity for people to take advantage of you and other people like you. Every social media app or website that you use is owned by a company or corporation. Some of them not in the US, some of them globally, and that's okay. But all of that information is owned by the company, and they use that information to market things to you. They also use that information to help government entities such as police or government officials when they want to get information. One really important thing to note is that even things that are encrypted aren't necessarily safe from hackers, from the government officials. That information is out there and can be accessed at any time. Now, people do take advantage of this when they approach you online to try to sell you something, whether that be drugs, whether that be something else illegal. So it's important to know that there really is no such thing as being truly anonymous on the internet or on social media. Even if you think things are encrypted or you think you're being safe, you still are vulnerable to these people that might be trying to approach you. So here are some ways to protect yourself and your friends on social media. For one thing, understanding that all of your information is accessible online. Even if you delete it or encrypt it, law enforcement agencies do have access to that information and can see what you do. Contacting the social media or reporting people that do offer you things or try to get illicit activities or sell you drugs online is also very important and helps protect you and your friends. Never giving out personal information. This is a really big one to understand, that nobody should have access to any of your personal identifying information if at all possible. And lastly, limiting your time on social media so that you can have a healthy digital lifestyle. A common misconception is that it is safer to buy drugs online than, say, on the street. This is absolutely false. It is still unregulated and you don't know the source of these drugs or the people you're even talking to. These drugs can be laced with things. You don't know what's inside them, and it could still be very dangerous. Just because you're anonymous behind the screen doesn't mean you're still not at risk. To sum up, social media is here to stay, and it's something that we can still all enjoy. But it is important to recognize the risks, and it is your responsibility to make sure that you're being as safe as possible online.
One of the biggest issues that we see in Ventura County right now is the sale of narcotics through social media sites. It's unfortunate in the fact that almost everybody who carries a cell phone basically has access to a drug dealer. My unit is constantly coming across social media related crimes in which people are preying upon younger generation people, using their social media to reach out to them, and they're using that to do their drug sales on. So it's becoming a huge issue in Ventura County. We're currently investigating numerous cases that have a social media aspect to them, and we do make arrests off of those through some of the forensics that we're able to do with the electronics.
Our generation, we're dealing with a lot of crap that's been handed down to us. But there's one thing on the streets that's killing us right now: fentanyl. Any fentanyl, especially the stuff on the street, is strong enough to kill you. Like 3 freaking grains worth. And fake pills are everywhere. People are dying every day, and the numbers keep going up. Enough is enough. With fentanyl, what you don't know can kill you. And now you know. Check out fentanylventuracounty.org for more. The rest is up to you.
Alex was in her bedroom at night, getting ready for bed. She went on social media in search of oxycodone. It wasn't hard for her to find a drug dealer, and she had what she thought was oxycodone delivered to our house. 1 pill had enough fentanyl to kill 5 people. My daughter took half of this pill and died instantly. In an instant, my life was changed forever. My last memory of my daughter is of her being wheeled out on a gurney. I saw my daughter brought into this world, and I saw her leave this world. I have 4 daughters and a beautiful wife. Every time we take a family picture, I don't see who's there, I see who's missing. It's an odd feeling to looking forward to dying, because you know that's when your heart will be made whole again. Alex would have never wanted this. Don't do it to your parents.
It's the end of the world at the palm of my hand. If you can't come with me, I'll understand.
Growing up, the first time I used a substance, I was 13 years old, and it was alcohol. It was at a family party. I snuck it and immediately loved the way that I felt, so I kept doing it. And even later that night, it turned into not a great situation where, I ended up missing a funeral of a close family member the day after. and I'd blacked out. So immediately, that was kind of my relationship to substances.
I don't think either of us envisioned being in long-term treatment at 19, 20, 21 years old. So that certainly didn't align with my aspirations, but my story is just like yours. I don't think anybody ever plans to become a heroin addict.
Right.
I certainly didn't. But I think that's just the insidious nature of alcoholism, of addiction, of substance use, of what's available in society right now.
For sure.
And it started out for me just wanting to party and have fun and be accepted and be a part of, and getting high. And ultimately that feeling that I got from getting high, I chased and chased and chased. And like you said, I needed that. It became a necessity. I felt I needed that to be able to cope and feel comfortable and move through life in a way that was comfortable and easy. I was smoking fentanyl and I overdosed probably a dozen times. Most of the time my friends revived me, be it with Narcan or, mouth to mouth, getting me breathing again. That wasn't always the case. When I was 18 years old, I overdosed in the parking lot of a Vons at 3 a.m. So we were getting high in my car. And at some point, my memory kind of fades. And then I remember waking up on the ground, looking up at paramedics and red lights flashing. And the moment I realized what it was, I was enraged. I felt my body really hot, really warm, and I felt all the high seeping out of my body instantaneously. And I still think of it as like the most sober I ever felt, because never had I felt sobriety and intoxication so closely together with such a dramatic juxtaposition. And I remember just being shocked and angry and pissed and scared that I might get in trouble, scared that my dad might find out.
Sure.
I was still only 18 years old, and enraged. And I started flailing about and trying to get them to let go of me. And they had my shirt ripped open, and they had revived me with Narcan, and they told me I was going to the hospital. I remember sitting in a hospital bed and a police officer telling me, "You've got a problem. You got to get help." And agreeing with him, believing that he was right, that I did have a problem, that I needed to get help, that it was time to stop. That was the scariest thing that had happened up to that point. I had overdosed previously, but my friends were able to bring me back. This was certainly not that. I was waking up on the concrete in a parking lot at 3 a.m. and being rushed to the hospital. And they told me that I was breathing 3 times per minute, and that had they gotten there maybe 2 minutes later, I would have been dead.
What we were in the middle of, where I was sitting was I got a chance to see the dynamic change from older to younger in such a short amount of time. Over a year and a half. And it directly correlated with fentanyl's presence on the street and these prescription opioids that were just so readily available. Even more so than when I was active in my using as a kid. I mean, I remember dad's got spinal issues, he's got multiple heart surgeries, he's got pain management, right? There's pain pills that I have access to every day. And I remember that was a big reason why I jumped into opioids the way that I did. It's just because I knew where the drawer was. I knew how to open it, right? And it was just that easy. But what I'm starting to see more and more of as a sort of common trend and rule of law today is it's in it's in everything,
Right.
you know. And it might not be necessarily in everything, but the dice that I was rolling when I was 21,
Yeah.
when I was 18, when I
Sure.
was 16,
Sure.
when I was 15, are different dice, man.
Yeah.
Like they have different sides to them, and the lethality level is so much stronger and higher, and it's so dangerous. And there's a lot of people that aren't going to fall in that 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10 category of potentially having some type of addiction problem or alcohol problem or whatever problem with
Right.
substances. Like we're talking about something that is affecting, you know, normal in every respect, right? Just
Yeah.
kids that are going out wanting something and getting something completely different.
We really are in uncharted territory. You know, I remember buying psychedelics with Bitcoin, you know, on the internet and things like that, or drug dealers texting me menus of a dozen different substances and quantities and amounts and emojis symbolizing certain things. And drugs were readily available and very easily accessible. I mean, I remember it kind of got real for me. One of the first get real moments. It was the first time I had found out that somebody that I used with died. He was 18 years old and he had taken Xanax. But I remember that moment stirring me. And I remember thinking, wait, I used drugs with that person. I interacted with him and he's no longer here. He's gone. He's dead.
I mean, it has really thrown a grenade in the way that we view addiction, the way that we treat it, the way that we view recovery from addiction. It definitely puts a sense of working in treatment, right, and being on the front lines. It does sort of put an emphasis, especially when you're working with families and you're trying to make sense of things and trying to engage somebody and help kind of motivate them for a better life and show them that it's there. There's a sense of urgency that's there today that really was always there, but in just such, I mean, times 10, right? It's like you just don't know how long this person's going to have.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like slowly corroding the liver because of alcohol, where this individual might get another 30 years. But today it's just as simple as someone who, is going to a party,
sure,
wants to partake, wants to be a part of. All of a sudden it happens.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's addiction and alcoholism isn't just brown paper bag, sleeping in a tent under a freeway overpass. And overdose isn't just something that happens to $1 million movie stars and Michael Jacksons and Heath Ledgers and things like that. I'm watching this happen to normal people, quote unquote, normal people, that aren't famous, that aren't rich, that don't look like your stereotypical picture of a drug addict. People like you and me.
Letter to myself. What's up, bro? Hope you're doing alright. I'm currently locked up as I'm writing this. You better have got out on parole and stayed out. Hope you went to college and pursued your career like you said you would. I hope you're making the right decisions and they're not listening to that voice in your head. I hope you've learned your lesson and kept your circle small. The struggle is what makes you. Don't let it break you. Keep your head up, G. Don't let your past define you. Prove to those people that have talked down on you that you are somebody. Leave a mark in this cold world. Become a boss, not a worker. I hope that you don't have to keep looking over your shoulder and that you are not as paranoid anymore. Don't make the decisions that will lead you to getting judged by 12. Avoid decisions that will lead you to getting carried by 6. Hope you have a happy life and have a loving family. I hope you live to know your grandkids. Don't let the streets destroy you. Focus. Keep your brothers close. Have faith. Push, pull, strive.
My name is Angelina Lanios, and I am the 2021-2022 Ventura County Youth Poet Laureate. And this is my poem, Letter to Myself. Last night, I wrote a letter to myself because no one else would. I wrote about how I brighten up a stormy day like the sun releases flowers from their underground prisons. I wrote about how my laugh can make even the coldest hearts stir in their hollow husks. I wrote about my hair, my eyes, my smile, the very elements that only add to my beauty rather than create it. I wrote about my heart and its undeniable value, so pure and so treasured, that anyone who looks at it without a care can only do so if they are blind. I wrote about myself and how everything in me is valuable, lovable, beautiful. I wrote until my heart was at peace, its contents spilled in ink across the paper. Last night, I wrote a letter to myself because no one else would. I wrote 3 simple words: I love you. It was the most beautiful letter I've ever received.